Okay. This is a Harry Lynn display. If you look at this board first, this was a 1948 Friends magazine. The inside cover had this was the inside cover of the magazine. This was page number 1. We had all these clubs down here shown in the picture, and if we go back to this plate here, these are actual clubs. We have a bunch of his old clubs that were not completed, so this represents how the original wooden clubs were manufactured. Here's a sanding pattern for Ben Barry, a famous juggler during the 30s, the 40s, and even into the 50s. This is inside of the club. The handle showing how it comes out. The inside, this is once it's glued together, and then these are stages. When you go back to this portion, here's a 1908 poster of Blair and Lind. This is Harry Lind, one of his letterheads. And here, when he worked with the Callow stool, one was Harry Lind, which this is Harry Lind over here. We also have Harry's obituary, a 1908 picture of Harry. He learned his trade from this man here, Jack Van Wyck. And so those two pictures are Harry Lind and Jack Van Wyck, the famous club manufacturer, who gave up actually manufacturing clubs roughly 1915. And that's an alley. They're holding two alley young juggling clubs. Here is a Christmas card from him. Here he is working in his office. A bunch of clubs of them, a bunch of old jugglers. After his death, his wife Ann sent a thank you card, and these are the 8 founders of the IJA. Here is an IJA logo. We come to the next table. Selma Blair was born in 1884. From roughly 1900 to 1925, she was one of the strongest female jugglers. This is one of her color-changing fire torches, possibly the only piece of equipment left that belonged to Selma. Here is a club with mirrors that was actually made by Harry Lind. We have a picture of Albert Petrosky, Bobby Hunt, and Jim Reinhardt. Doug Cowden was a very great juggler, born in 1891. He passed away in 1955. This is the Van Wyck Club, and the film may not pick it up, but one way to identify him, Harry Lind cut the clubs in half, where he cut them this way and pieced them together. They fit together. This is a very long club, weighing possibly 16 or 17 ounces. This is a display put on for one of the great female jugglers that came over to the United States in 1948. This is one of her plates that she did. Here is a picture of her juggling one of those plates, each one with a different color. Here she is sitting ringside with a famous movie star, Alan Ladd, and here she is juggling 6 of those plates while bouncing a ball on her head. Jeff Tavaja, we have, of course, have some equipment from him. This is Victor Key, a brilliant Russian juggler. This is a signed ball from him. Tom Dewart. This club was manufactured by Stu Reynolds. Stu's wife made this holder for every one of the holders, or so to speak, stockings for the clubs, so they wouldn't be damaged or get dirty, were different materials. Vladimir Trauskov was a brilliant hoop juggler. He still is around. He's as of now, he's roughly between 25 and 30 years of age. Here is a picture of Tuan Lee, the foremost hat juggler. He's capable of juggling 7 of these hats in a show. He also does back throws with 5 of these hats. This parasol and ring was donated by Loon, a Wisconsinite. A great juggler. He does not perform. Chris LaRue, this is a club that he owned. Charlie Fry with his wife Cherry. Charlie is a brilliant juggler and magician, a showman personified. One of the best there is. Rudy Horn, he was the first. He came from Germany, Berchtesgaden, down in Bavaria, southern Germany. And that's where the Eagle's Nest, Hitler had his Eagle's Nest up in the mountains. There's 7 mountains there. This is one of Rudy's, as you see, saucers. It's signed. He was the first German to be allowed, German act to be allowed in England after the Second War, thus opening up for other entertainers. A brilliant juggler was Barrett Felker. He teamed up with several people, and here he's working alone doing a Globetrotter show. He teamed up with several people and currently is with Alan Jacobs, a club swinger personified, a funny guy and a very talented individual. Here are 2 pictures of Bella and Chris Cremo, big-time jugglers worldwide. Massimiliano Truzzi was said in his time to be the greatest juggler for circuses. Clockwork, I have one of their signed pots. Unfortunately, I didn't bring it with on this trip. Here's a Gildova. He was a brilliant comic juggler. He's on a stand, balancing and doing his cigar boxes. His father, Ben Dova, their names are actually Benjamin Spa and Gilbert Spa, but they go by Dova. His father was on the Hindenburg when it burnt. He's one of 56 people that survived the fire. A truly great American juggler, Peter Davison. Here he's performing or practicing 5 clubs. The Elgins were in a Broadway, or actually a movie from Hollywood. Here's some pictures of them. Here's a club that they used, a hat that was used in the movie, another hat, boomerang hat. We come to this table. These are all statues. Possibly the greatest statue manufacturer or artist was Joe Nedorowski. Here he is working on this team trophy or statue. A girl, a young man jumping over a girl that's juggling 3 clubs, and they're transferring it. This award is sponsored by the Passing Zone, and it only goes to the team winner each year of the teams. Here are other statues that Joe Ski made. Here's a man bouncing 5 balls. He makes the most realistic statues around. Here is a young man practicing 3 balls behind his back. Bobby May, that is the Bobby May trophy given out by the IJA on an annual basis. Here is the Mills Mess statue. It is also signed on the side by Steve Mills, who they named the trick after Steve Mills. This is a very attractive statue. This is one of a kind. I've had it for several years, and when I originally got it, it was in deplorable condition. It was repaired and painted by a very famous magician and painter, George Johnstone. Later, when I was moving from one site to another, it was damaged, and my granddaughter, Danielle Smith Frederick, repainted it, and it's really a beautiful, attractive piece. Most people may think it's ugly, but I love it. This is a juggler that my wife purchased. She was a lucky winner in Las Vegas, and she's thinking of her hubby. She purchased this statue. We go on to this table. This is real great stuff here. This table mainly goes back 50 years ago, from 1961. These pages from different newspaper clippings, as you see, it was held in Bristol, Tennessee, 1961. This album is strictly dated 1961, and inside of the manual it has all of the pictures, including everyone that attended the Bristol, Tennessee, they called them conventions. Later we changed it to festival. Alongside of it is a club that was owned by this young lady, Betty Gorham. Her married name is Willard. Her husband was a hand balancer, and even in his late 70s, he's still capable of doing hand balancing. She was the very first member back in 1947 to send her dues to the then treasurer, Roger Montandon. The dues for a year's membership was $1 in 1947, so she's officially the first member, paid member of the IJA. That's one of her clubs. Here is the International Jugglers Association founders and charter members. One of the charter members is Bobby Jewell, Vin Carey, Dr. Baldwin, Teddy Ray, and Joe Fleckenstein. The founders being George Bavaric, Jack Breen, Art Jennings, Eddie Johnson, Harry Lind, Durham, Joyce, Bernard Joyce, and Roger Montandon. Roger is the only living founder alive. Here is a picture of Roger taken in 1947. He was a writer and a collector. He wrote the Juggler's Bulletin starting in 1944 through 1951. It came out annually, and here is a letter dated 1934 that was mailed to Roger from none other than W.C. Field. That's his letterhead and his signature. Of course, back in 1961, 50 years ago, Tommy Curtin was elected as president of the IJA. A man that attended many of the functions, festivals for the IJA was Forrest Hobbs. He was a rope spitter. He was well known in the IJA circles and loved by many. He's passed away approximately 10 years ago at 87 years of age. We come to the next table. Of course, this is a movies. We have here some movies taken as far back as 1895. So somebody just has to click. We brought 550 movies. Here is a club owned by Luke Wilson. Luke will be on the bill tomorrow. He's from England, unique, and he's really a tremendously fine juggler. Ken Benj used to juggle on a regular basis. This is one of his clubs. Here's a picture of him juggling this club on a unicycle. This is a saber that he held in his mouth with a long sword balanced on the saber, and then he put a round clear plate on top of it with 4 whiskey glasses or wine glasses and a decanter of wine. A man that many people know is Mark Neiser. Here is one of Mark Neiser's clubs. Mark Neiser made it a business to do school shows. School shows, college shows are one of the best paying gigs around. Alan Howard, a man of many talents. He also is the editor of the IJA magazine called Juggle. He also is a magician, a big-time collector, married for 2 years. Alan is one heck of a great guy. Massimiliano Truzzi was known as one of the finest circus performers. This is one of the 2 types of clubs that he juggled. Lindsay Leslie was around approximately 40 years ago. This is 1970, a club. Cindy Marvel, she's won IGA festivals. Here's one of her signed clubs. Even the Juggle, she was on the front of this Juggle magazine. Here, she even signed the magazine. The next one is of Steve Mills, a strong juggler. I went to one of his events when he was performing with the Harlem Globetrotters, and he said that was because of me. It was the only show that he ever did 5 club back throws, and I took movies of it, of which he's got today. We'll come